Well, thanks for being here tonight. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about comprehensive sexuality education, and then I'm going to help to connect some dots, because I was told that there might be some teachers here tonight, so I wanted to help teachers to understand just how comprehensive sexuality education came into our schools and what we can do about it. So, there are no children in the room, correct? You promised there'd be no children. And that's important, because what we're teaching our children is not appropriate for children. And I'm going to talk to you about some of what I have seen and read in the 5 curriculums that have been approved in this state for our children. There are only 5, and they all include information very similar to what I'm about to share with you. So I apologize to you in advance that what I'm about to share is embarrassing, especially to you men. I apologize for some of the things I have to say in front of you today, but our children are hearing it in the classroom. So it's time that we understand this and we do something about it. I just feel morally obligated to share it with you. In 2013, a parent from Northern California sent an email to me entitled, "The Latest Horror." She shared a curriculum that was used in her daughter's 5th grade classroom. Her daughter was 11 years old at the time. The curriculum was written by Planned Parenthood, and it's called Making Proud Choices. It's still one of only 5 curriculums approved by the state of California under the new California Healthy Youth Act. The first thing she pointed out to me was a lesson called the Condom Relay Races. I'm reading from my notes so that I don't get anything wrong tonight. I read the entire teacher's manual, and I felt sexually violated during reading it. I had to get up several times and pace across my home. The condom relay races. Here are the highlights. The teacher has to instruct the children on the use of condoms. She's told to use her arm to demonstrate the use of condoms. She's then told to teach the children all the steps in using a condom. The children are divided into 2 teams in mixed company. Boys and girls together. Recall this child was 11 years old. The teacher is instructed to bring out 2 anatomically correct, fully erect adult penis models and to place them on the table. The children are told that each child will run to the penis model, place the condom on the penis, tell the group every correct step to using the condom, remove the condom, run back to his or her teammate, smack the hand, like a relay race, and now the next child gets a turn to be mortified. The first team to finish wins, and the teacher is told to make this a fun game. My first instinct was this is child abuse, and any child forced to touch and view a fully erect male penis model would be mortified and disgusted and traumatized for life. I don't think I would have ever gotten married had I gone through that as an 11-year-old. The initial page of this teacher's manual that I read would give a person the idea that the program simply focuses on preventing sexually transmitted diseases, AIDS, and unplanned pregnancies, which in my opinion is too much for an 11-year-old, by the way. But as soon as you turn the page, the overt sexual indoctrination of children begins. Even the rules, which were to be posted throughout the 8 weeks of the lessons, are a form of indoctrination and could lead to the abuse of children. The second rule, don't yuck my yum. Wow. W-O-W, all in caps. That's the rule. States, quote, if someone feels the need to make which may be a sexual activity, we say, wow. We don't say, ew, because we don't want to say anything bad about something someone else likes. This would take away the safe space of the classroom, and not everyone would feel comfortable sharing, end quote. Safe space? There's not one thing safe about these lessons for children or teachers. I know we're all mortified for the kids, but put yourself in the place of a teacher who has to teach this stuff and is, told this is the curriculum you're going to teach. I'm so upset I have to get myself some water. I feel violated every time I talk about this. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm only going to share one more highlight. There are many, many more. And there's too much to share with you tonight, so I can't share every single highlight. But the next highlight from this curriculum states, quote, proud and responsible behavior includes protecting yourself by using a condom when you have sex. By sex, we mean vaginal, anal, or oral sex, VAO. They casually refer to it as VAO throughout every page of the curriculum. Children are taught to protect themselves using, quote, a dental dam or a condom. I had no idea what a dental dam was, so I Googled it. I was so embarrassed, I could not bring myself to open up any of the links. I was afraid I would be taken to pornography or something. But a dental dam was designed for oral surgery. That's all good. But our schools now think it's a good idea to teach our children that they should use a dental dam when they are engaging in oral to anal sex. This is being taught to our children in California public schools. And it didn't start in this state. It's been around for a while. So I'm going to show you a little bit of my slides here and try to help you connect some dots tonight. The California Healthy Youth Act. I don't have a clicker, so I apologize for being a little lame here with my mouse. California Healthy Youth Act had the following coalition of supporters. Take a look. Coalition of supporters. The California School Boards Association supported this. The California Teachers Association supports this. And shockingly, the California Parent Teachers Association, the PTA. Why would the PTA support something that's so harmful to children? And why would the CTA support something so offensive to, I don't know one single solitary teacher who would teach this. Not one. There are a few activist teachers who show up in our schools, but the real ones, the ones that love the kids, the ones who understand that children are innocent, precious little, adorable, loving, they're not sexual objects, those teachers would never, ever teach this. So I found that shocking when I read that. And just in case you don't believe me, because a lot of times teachers don't want to believe this stuff, especially. Here's a letter from the ACLU. And the ACLU is talking, they sent it to county superintendents to let them know about the implementation and writing on behalf of ACLU. And they just talk about the Healthy Youth Act and, they want you to, they're going to help you implement it because, by the way, if you don't implement it, they come out and harass you. So they want to make sure that we all implement this in our schools and that it's mandatory for students in middle school and high school. And then the rest of this letter, you'll see right here where the ACLU tells you right here, that is why California established requirements for sexual health education over a decade ago and why the California Healthy Youth Act was strengthened and updated those requirements was enacted last year with the support of the California School Board Association, the California State Parent Teacher Association, and the California Teachers Association, among others. So you see it for yourself. And if you don't believe me, you can Google this. You can find it on the ACLU. It's a PDF. whoops, sorry. I need to get a clicker. So I'm going to go over, for everybody, just some of the resolutions and new business items of the National Education Association. So if you're a teacher who pays to the California Teachers Association, that's your state union. Your national union is the National Education Association, just for any of you that don't know what NEA stands for. So every year, the NEA has something called the Representative Assembly, and that's where teachers go and they're supposedly supposed to be representing all of us who are at the boots on the ground level. It used to be an 11,000 strong, but it's now about 8,000. And unfortunately, I have several teacher friends, about 24 of them, who have been serving at the NEA Rep Assembly for over 30 years. And every year they're bullied, they're spit upon, they are told they belong in hell, and all sorts of things because they dared to speak out against comprehensive sexuality education. They dared to bring truly medically accurate information and say this is not healthy for children, and they get bullied at the NEA. And I think teachers need to know that that's how we're being represented. Am I causing that to happen? Okay. So I'm just going to go over some, so you can see it with your own eyes, what the NEA stands for. Gosh, so sorry. There we go. So this is NEA. Resolution B53, sex education. You can find this in the NEA resolutions document, which can be downloaded now from the NEA.org website. I highlighted just the stuff that I thought you would find interesting. Teachers in health, well, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Teachers and health professionals must be qualified to teach in this area and must be legally protected from censorship and lawsuits. My first question is, why are they worried about censorship and lawsuits unless they're pushing something we're going to want to sue them over? And the other thing you need to understand is that they have a certain way of, like, I'm not qualified to teach this, even though I taught 28 years in California public schools. I'm not qualified to teach this because I won't teach the stuff I just read to you. So if I refuse to teach it, they made sure to write into the law, into our California law, and you can find that on our government website, right on AB 329, if you look up the law, read it for yourself. If a teacher refuses to teach it or is not qualified to teach it, then the experts come in and teach it. They're from Planned Parenthood and groups like that, so the kids will get it for sure. So the teacher can escape, but the children can't. Now there are some opt-out provisions. If parents see the letter and they know to opt out, they can opt out of some of it. They can't opt out if it shows up in the kindergarten class, the teacher reads about gender dysphoria or whatever. You can't opt out of that. There's only some you can opt out of. So it's really scary for parents. Okay, let me show you the next. So I wanted you to see here that this is B53 again, National Education Association. They tell you all the things they want to make sure we cover. And they want to make sure that we cover diversity of culture and diversity of sexual orientation and gender identity. So people don't realize, but it's the teachers union that's behind this stuff too. And I want to point this out because it comes up again later in a couple slides. Okay, and they also want to make sure that age appropriate is really important here, because what I read to you, was that age appropriate? Well, they think it is. That's the scary thing. Those 5 curriculums were approved by the same folks that passed this stuff, the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, all the same groups. And so they have a very, I'll say it, they're wrong. It's not age appropriate. I couldn't even see some of this stuff in a drunken frat party, to be honest with you. My husband's disgusted by it. And he's been in drunken frat parties in his life, you know? So they also constantly say medically accurate, but when you look at the actual curriculum, it's not medically accurate. They're telling children to have anal sex with condoms. There are no condoms that have been approved for anal sex. These children could end up ill for life. This is not funny. You know, it's tragedy. Okay, so that you have to include the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning LGBTQ issues. This should include but not be limited to information on sexuality, sexual orientation, and gender expression. The unions are very, very, very hung up on sex and the whole gender, what do they call it when you have, there's all the genders? I can't remember what it's called. Spectrum, the spectrum of genders. Okay, so I asked you to remember that one part because it was going to come up again. This was NEA New Business Item 155 in 2017. So when they go to that representative assembly, they bring up new business items and they vote on them. I'll be showing you some in a few minutes. So this one, NEA will use existing media to publicize school districts implementing inclusive sex education curriculum that reflects the beliefs of NEA Resolution B53 that we were just looking at. Sex education, B, the one I highlighted for you, diversity of culture, and diversity of sexual orientation and gender identity. So why is this stuff suddenly so important in our schools and our kids can't even read? Because the NEA wants it to be important in our schools, and because teachers who don't even know they're funding this are funding this. That's why. I'm going to play a little video for you. This is my friend Barb Amadon. Right here, she's a Washington State teacher. She's retired now, but she taught for years and years. Wonderful lady. And I just want to show you a 2-minute video we made of her story to help you understand, connect the dots on the next part of my presentation. Let's hope I can pull this off. I'm probably going to need some help.
I was a school teacher for 37 years, and I was forced as a government employee to pay union dues. We had a law in Washington State so that government could not spend the money of union members on political activities. We started getting amazing amounts of political mail telling us who to vote for. I called our union president, and he told me that there was no money going from our dues to the political causes, so I thought, I'm just going to find out for myself. I eventually found a discrepancy where the teachers union, WEA, made a huge loan, $210,000, to the PAC, and then the PAC spent it on political activities. So 3 months later, in their documentation, I find that the WEA forgave that loan. I decided to see furthermore what the union was doing. So the NEA had 17 pages of resolutions. And most of those resolutions had nothing to do with teachers or children. It had everything to do with all kinds of political things. Positions on nuclear war, Planned Parenthood, anti-life statutes for euthanasia. I thought, teachers need to know this. So we decided to publish this newsletter and talk about union spending. Many of the teachers who subscribed to our newsletter decided that we would sue the teachers union and challenge them as a group to be honest about how much money they were spending on politics. After 2 lawsuits and 10 issues of this newspaper, I received a subpoena and a notice that I was being sued by the teachers union. It was not lost on me that the teachers union sued me with my own dues. And it was clear during the depositions they wanted to intimidate us. But we weren't scared. I'm not anti-union whatsoever. I think unions can be good when they represent teachers. When the union funds candidates and causes that I don't support, I feel really frustrated and powerless because my money is going to support that. Having a government mandate that we belong to a union is wrong.